gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Let's get ready to rumble!
This one by Mattingly. Oh, hang on to the roof.
Throwing in the end zone. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Little roller up along first. Behind the man. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
Yes, it is Christmas, so we are going to start off the show with some Christmas because the Bri Man's very happy today. I can't imagine for anybody that knows him why, but it's Sports and Sorts episode 147. Welcome back. It is Monday morning, and we go live on YouTube every Monday at 10, Wednesday at 11, and Saturdays at 10. And you can also find this show on iTunes or anywhere podcasts are played. And of course, I am one of your hosts, and my name is Shane.
And I'm the Bri Man.
And you can check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/Shane and the Bri Man, or follow us on Twitter at Shane and Bri Man. And we got a great show today. We got a great show. You know what? I think it's time. Wait, what you're getting all fired up about Christmas and everything. You were singing the song before, so I had to play it. But we got a great show. So that's not it, go.
You are listening to Sports and Sorts with Shane and the Bri Man.
Oh, man. Too many buttons to hit today. I had to wing it with the intro music. But you know what? Maybe I'll continue it for now. There you go. Because I know you're excited.
Johnny go, oh, baby, what a day. What a day yesterday.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that big day in just a few minutes because we have some things to talk about. We have a recap of last night's game. And last night's game was the Rams versus the Bears. And I had said that this game was going to be a battle.
I got the prediction right. I was proud of myself, but nowhere near the score.
No, nowhere near the score. Yes, you got the prediction right. You actually went 2-0, and I
What?
went 0-2.
I have had a good feel. The Bears are my team this year, man. I'm telling you, that team has something. They have something.
So, and I needed to see if the Rams could go in and get a win on the road in the cold.
In a tough environment, in the cold.
To see if they were a legit Super Bowl contender, and they didn't step up to the plate here. And this is a really bad sign for Rams fans, and I put myself in that boat because I've been cheering for them, except for the last 2 years. It has been it's not a really good sign when this year, last year you lost to the Falcons in the playoffs at home. And you got embarrassed. You didn't just lose. You got embarrassed 26-13. And then you go and face two good teams this year, the Saints and the Bears, and you get beat by both. And those are both on the road, but still you have to win at least one of those two games. And then particularly this weekend when they got absolutely beat up in the cold of Chicago, Goff looked bad, Gurley looked bad, the receivers looked pretty bad, dropping balls. Aaron Donald couldn't get to the quarterback. Which I was kind of nervous about anyway with Trubisky because if he doesn't get the ball out quick, he's looking to run or throw on the run, which makes it tough, on any pass rush. So I know I said I was out on the Steelers after last week and, after the week before when they, I wasn't going to root for them. I had them originally as my Super Bowl contender, and I was out as of last week. This week compounded that even more.
Yeah, you're really out now.
Raiders. But I am not ready to give up on the Rams yet. This is
I can't give up on them, especially after they just lost. Their two losses are against high quality teams. Neither of them.
But you have to be high quality teams in the playoffs.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'd rather see them lose games like that on the road to 10 and to 11 and respectively 9-win teams than I'd rather see them lose fluky games to bad teams.
Yeah.
But here's you know what? I want to take a positive here because I'm in such a great mood. I want to talk more about the Bears and what they did. And here's what I really like about the Bears. And if you're a Bears fan, man, you've got a lot to look forward to. The Bears can play to their level of competition. And I don't mean that in a negative way, because usually that carries a negative connotation with it when you say they play to their competition. In the case of the Bears, they play to their competition, but well. Because the Bears can beat you in a number of different ways. If you want to get in a shootout, they can get in a shootout with you. They can run up a score. They can put points on the board. They're a team that can put 25 to 30 points on a board regularly if need be. But they can also play a defensive, grind-it-out battle kind of a game. And last night, I think that cold weather played a major factor. And look, I mean, just because you're the Bears and you play in the cold doesn't mean that it's any easier to do it. I mean, yes, you're more used to it, but those are still tough conditions. And I think at one point, I don't remember who it was, somebody was like, they were like, oh, well, you know, it's 26, but there's no wind. It's actually a really nice play. It's really nice playing conditions. I'm like, oh my God. No, it's not. These guys are breathing cold there. But I will tell you, though, the Bears continue to impress me. I mean, I know they've lost some. Look, every game loses head-scratching games throughout the year, right? The Bears lost a head-scratcher to the Dolphins down in Miami, a game that they should have won. But the Bears are a very real team for me, and honestly, don't get me wrong, I could see them losing in the first round of the playoffs, but I could also see them making some noise. Yeah. Because depending on which Bears team shows up, I actually think the scarier Bears team is the one that showed up last night. The one that held a high-powered offense down. Like the Rams, who arguably have the best offense in the NFL. And keep in mind, the Rams are a healthy team right now. They're healthy on defense. They're healthy on offense. They've been healthy on, with the exception of Cooper Kupp being out. But you know what? Cooper Kupp is not the kind of guy that's going to prevent the Rams from winning a Super Bowl. I think what happened last night, if you see that more on the regular, that's the kind of thing that can prevent the Rams from winning a Super Bowl.
Right.
But you have to like what you saw out of the Bears last night. I mean, yeah, the Rams were not good. They couldn't get anything done. They could not get Todd Gurley on track. He had a couple of spurts towards the end of the game where he broke a few runs for like 10 or 11 yards.
They were letting him run at that point in time.
They were, right, because at that point they were up by 9 points, and they were like, this team's going to have to get 2 scores on us to beat us.
Yeah.
So but I'll tell you what, man, if you're a Bears fan, even if this isn't your year, there is a lot to look forward to there. The foundation is good. And you have to like what you saw out of them last night. You've got a great, creative, young head coach in Nagy. And you know what? Your quarterback is more than just solid. He's more than just a game manager. That is a guy who I think can win games for them. And your defense showed you last night that they are the identity of that team.
Yeah, for me, as the Rams, obviously you want to cheer on the Bears and everything. They did a lot of good things, but they didn't play well either. I mean, offensively, I think this is the problem with the Bears. The problem with the Bears is I think that this always happens with good defensive teams, is that they end up getting on the field way too much. And particularly yesterday, Trubisky hit 3 picks. You know, he had a bad game. Eventually, the Bears are going to come out, and they're going to come after him. His defense is going to be like, come on, you have to give us a break. And this isn't like the Trent Dilfers of the world that are game managers. This is like he's putting their defense in a bad spot. But, if you can't win, as far as the Rams goes, if you can't win big games at home in the playoffs, can't win big games on the road against good teams, and can't play in the cold, these are all bad signs, and when it gets cold, that's when truly the big games are played. And you also need to play well against good teams on the road. The Bears played bad on offense yesterday, and you still couldn't get the win. That is totally on Goff and McVay, 100%. They totally dropped the ball.
McVay was very accountable for that yesterday too. I think he even said, like,
he's proven that in these big games, he is not coming up with a game plan to put them in a better position to win. Got outcoached by Peyton, got outcoached by Nagy. You know, these are two, and those are 2 totally different teams. And you could even say,
they are.
Even that game where they had a back and forth with Patrick Mahomes and him, when they won that game, but it wasn't like Sean McVay absolutely outcoached Andy Reid. They were just going back to back, and it's just whoever had the ball last kind of deal. So that's just kind of where it is. I don't know. It's in rough shape, but I'm still rooting for the Rams. They're still a young team. I'm hoping that that McVay can put it all together.
One of the things that was of the things that was a little upsetting last night, and a little bit of a takeaway, especially for the Rams. And again, you made the point. Young team, young quarterback. One of the things that Jared Goff was doing last night was he was eyeballing a lot of receivers. He was really staring down a lot of receivers. And that is, I actually thought that was something that he had gotten past after his early Jeff Fisher portion of his career.
Well, I think he was getting nervous. He was getting smacked around last night.
He was getting hit, and that is the point. Like when you can pressure a quarterback, the decision-making process is really hindered. And you saw what happened to him last night. You get happy feet, you start to target receivers because at that point you're just getting desperate.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that the Bears can do to you. And I think by and large that's what's happened to Tom Brady a lot in his Super Bowl losses, especially the ones to the Giants, where they put pressure on him. And he doesn't have time to survey the field, so he locks in on guys. But Tom Brady's an experienced quarterback who's shown you that he can get rattled when the pressure is there. A young quarterback, that's going to happen 9 out of 10 times, right, if not 10 out of 10. So, All
right. Well, speaking of Tom Brady, we have another appearance. We've had a couple of requests already. Damian had said not starting with the fins up miracle, and then later on, I'm surprised you could hold the Bri Man back. The Dolphins won the Super Bowl yesterday by Clint. We are going to be getting into that right now because I want to move on to something. Obviously, the Bri Man's very looking forward to talking about the Patriots at the Dolphins, where the Pats don't always play great. They don't play great in Miami.
No,
all the
that's
time.
Their house of horrors.
Yes, and what had happened was
10 seconds left. Tannehill will throw it, and this will end it after the shovel, or will it?
Or will it?
Miami running around, circling. Oh, look out!
Gronkowski didn't have the angle.
Touchdown!
A miracle! Oh, you think I won't have that call etched into my brain? It was funny. So, you know what's funny is, and at our age, and I'm sure you know this, I'm 41 years old now.
What?
I'm sitting on the couch, and I'm sitting on the couch. Like when I'm on the couch at 41 years of age, just, average, kind of sitting on the couch. You know how, it's just a little bit harder for you to get up than it was when you were 20? You know how,
you can't shoot out of the chair?
You don't shoot, right? You don't shoot out of the chair. You kind of you might sometimes
brace yourself with your arm, kind of lift yourself.
Or your arm, right? Or you put your hands on your knees and you kind of there's that grunt that kind of comes from the diaphragm. I would say for the first time in years yesterday, as once Ted Larson put that block on whoever it was in the Patriots secondary, and you saw Kenyon Drake getting to the outside with only Gronk to beat, I felt like the adrenaline from my toes right up through my hips just lifted me out of that chair. I popped up like I was an 18-year-old again.
Oh my
and I was like, oh my God, does he? And I was thinking the same thing as that announcer was like, wait a minute, does Gronkowski have the right angle? And then you saw him stumble because he, a little bit of broken ankles there because he was like, oh crap, this guy's really fast. Yeah. and I couldn't believe it. I was just like, I was like Stefan in Saturday Night Live. I just could not believe it. It was just, I said it on Facebook yesterday. For Dolphin fans, especially Dolphin fans who are my age and younger, we don't have a lot of moments. Most of our moments are in the regular season. There's very little that we have that's postseason or of that ilk. And so for us, moments like that, like yesterday, those are the kind of things that's all we have. I mean, that is, Clint said it. I mean, the Dolphins won the Super Bowl yesterday. That sort of seems to be like the Dolphins' annual Super Bowl is winning this game, winning the home game late in the year in December against the Patriots is the Dolphins' Super Bowl. It just sort of seems to be how it always pans.
You have a Mount Rushmore of Super Bowl.
I do. Yeah. Well, I have a Mount Rushmore of Dolphin moments that
right. That's it. Not Super Bowl.
It's
like Dolphin Super Bowl
that I wanted to share because I was watching it. You know what? And it was funny because our friend of the show, Tim Callahan, actually sent me a text yesterday, and I agreed with it the moment he sent it. I did not feel like it was an overreaction. And he said that is something that we'll be talking about for 25 years. Like that play, because every time...
Because it doesn't happen to the Patriots.
Right, but every time the Patriots go down to Miami late in the year, they will show that. That highlight will get shown. Mm-hmm. You'll see it next year, and the year after, and the year after, and the year after, and the year after. It's going to keep happening. And so it got me to like thinking like, you know, like what are my Mount Rushmore of Dolphin memories? Because again, look, I'm not going to even pretend. I'm not going to even throw 1972 or 73 out there because I was not even a twinkle in my parents' eye at that point. So let's not get silly and throw those moments out there. Do I applaud and respect the 72 Dolphins, the perfect season? Yes. An unbelievable accomplishment. Something that no NFL team has done yet outside of the Patriots in the regular season. But no team has accomplished that. Yes, it's great. It's part of Dolphins lore, but it's not something that I am specifically attached to. Mm-hmm. So there are Mount Rushmore, 4 moments as a Dolphins fan that have meant the most to me. And I'll kind of do it from like backwards to what I believe is the biggest in my opinion.
Okay.
This one, the Miami Miracle, yesterday, slides in the number 4 spot. This was as special a moment that I can ever recall as a Dolphins fan. And the one that it replaced, just to give you like an idea of the scope of what this replaced, to me, this replaces the Thanksgiving Day game, the Leon Lett game, where the Dolphins were locked. There was Pete Stoyanovic's kick was blocked, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, comes Leon Lett sliding through the snow. The Dolphins recover. They clear it off the field in the snow on Thanksgiving, and Stojanovic kicks the game winner, and the Dolphins win a ridiculous miracle game. Mm-hmm. This replaces that, because that's how unbelievable this was. That wasn't even a trick play they won on yesterday. It was a fluke play, a goof play. They were dead to rights. Mm-hmm. And look, are the Dolphins going to make the playoffs? Probably not, because they'd probably have to win out. And even if they won 2 out of their last 3, they'd still need help. The chances of them making the playoffs are not good. If they go into Minnesota next week and somehow win, then it's, then you look back on this and you're like, wow, what a season-changing moment for them. But as it stands right now, it got them to 7-6. It makes you feel there's a little sliver of hope for the playoffs, but you know what? Forget about that. Try and look at it in a vacuum, to be honest, because that's probably all you're going to get out of it. But as an individual moment, it's huge. Number 3 for me, Dolphins winning the AFC East in 2008 with Chad Pennington as their quarterback. And they clinched the division on the road in Week 17 against Brett Favre and the Jets in New York. And I remember that because it was Christmas Eve, I believe. Mm-hmm. And I just remember my brother and I hugging in his living room, being like, oh my God, it actually happened. We actually won the division. So that was a special memory. And, if you recall, 2008 was the year Brady got hurt. So, that gave the opening to the Dolphins to win that division. Even though the Patriots finished with the same record, they were both 11-5, but the Dolphins had tiebreakers.
Right.
Number 2, and here's where we're getting to like the real nitty-gritty if you're Dolphin fans, the clock play. November 27th, 1994.
I remember that.
Clock play.
Everybody did. Everybody did that in the playground. And everybody
became a thing.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, that was an iconic Dan Marino memory. He's going up to the line, pointing to the ground. But the thing that people don't remember about that game is not only was that clock play amazing, the Dolphins were down 24-0 in that game. Mm-hmm. They were being dominated by the Jets. And that clock play was actually Bernie Kosar's idea. And Bernie Kosar relayed it to Shula. They got it into the game, and it worked. I mean, it worked. The Jets were caught completely off guard. Mark Ingram caught the game-winning touchdown, which I believe was... I think Mark Ingram caught all 4 of the touchdowns in that game for the Dolphins. But I will never forget the way I celebrated. I was jumping up and down like Marino was, like at the same time Marino was, just jumping up and down.
Back when you could jump up and down.
I could, right. Back when I actually could get separation between my feet and the floor. And then number 1, you know what, so keep in mind, this is for people of my age. Number 1 is Dan Marino. Not that there's ever going to be revenge for the 84 Super Bowl, because that just wasn't possible. But 1994, Marino beats Joe Montana in the playoffs. Granted, Joe Montana was a Chief. It wasn't a Super Bowl rematch, but Marino threw 2 touchdowns in that game. He played very well. The Dolphins beat the Chiefs 27-17. It felt like a little bit of redemption. You never can get like full redemption or anything unless you actually win a title, and of course Dan Marino did not do that. But as a Dolphins fan, that was an amazing memory. Just him beating Montana, going into the middle of the field and shaking Montana's head afterwards, and knowing that this time he was walking away with a victory and going into round 2 of the playoffs. And it ended not long after that, but that was still a special moment for Dolphin fans. And that is my Mount Rushmore of Dolphins moments as a fan. And unfortunately, I wish some of those included Super Bowls, but,
Unfortunately, you're not there.
We're not there.
Yeah,
we're not
that's a tough one. I haven't really thought about it, but definitely the Frank Reich comeback was amazing. That was a great one for me.
Oh,
for sure.
God. Got me.
There's such a glaring, with those 4 Super Bowl losses, it's tough to really take many wins because I know getting to 4 is great. It's awesome.
Yeah,
but the problem is getting there and losing time and time and time and time again is just
tough. And that's got to be tough.
It wipes out all of the great things you did throughout the season.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a Bills fan, I would think even if you had just won 1, it would have.
Oh my gosh!
Especially that first one. Super Bowl 25.
One should have been won. We should have beat the Redskins because we had a better team than the Redskins, but we just got destroyed by the Redskins. Oh my gosh! It was just there's just so, and even if we won 1, that would go down as one of the greatest teams of all time.
It would have taken the sting. It would have taken a lot of the sting out of I can't even fathom going to 4 and losing 4 straight. I mean, it's just got to be knowing that you should have won at least one of them, maybe 2. The fact that the Bills were basically the team of the decade.
They had a juggernaut of a team.
Yeah,
great running back, great linebackers, great defensive
great quarterback,
line, great quarterback.
You
great
you
wide
had
receivers. James Lofton and Andre Reed at one time. And that's crazy.
You have 4 Hall of Famers there between Kelly. Well, Thurman Thomas, was he in the Hall of Fame or no?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You have 4 Hall of Famers there at that core. That's unbelievable that they didn't win. Yeah. Every time look, with the Giants, they ran into a team of destiny. The Redskins, again, I agree with you. They were a better team.
The Cowboys, I will admit, had a better team. They just had a better team. They were just
the Cowboys
they were a stronger team both times.
Because I guess their triplets were better than the Bills' triplets.
Yeah.
And they were dealing, Aikman, Smith, Irvin, better than Kelly, Thomas, Reed, I guess.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Because Irving is better than Reed, and I loved Reed. Reed was my favorite player. And, obviously Emmitt Smith is better than Thurman Thomas. I think Aikman and Kelly are probably more eye to eye. Aikman was a good quarterback, but he really benefited from having one of the greatest offensive lines of all time. So,
but look, just to put a bow on this thing for my fellow Dolphins fans, let's not get delusional. This team's almost certainly not going to the playoffs. But you know what? That was as special a moment for us in the regular season as you could possibly imagine. If it had been, and I think I said this to Tim when he sent me the thing about the 25 years. I was like, if it had been any other team, it wouldn't have meant 1/10 of what it did.
Yeah.
But the fact that it was against the Patriots and the fact that it derails the Patriots from getting that number 1 seed, this pretty much locks this up for the Chiefs. That combined with the Chiefs' semi-miracle win yesterday. Mm-hmm. And I call the Chiefs' miracle a semi-win because they had 2 4th downs that they were facing, and Patrick Mahomes, who was really turning out to be an unbelievably special player, makes just 2 incredible plays against that team and pulls off, again, a semi-miracle because the Chiefs are better than the Ravens. But man, oh man, Patrick Mahomes made a no-look pass in yesterday's game. Mm-hmm. That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous.
I think it's really turning into he's the favorite to win the MVP, and then you have Drew Brees is right behind him. Probably, you even have Tom Brady, who's probably close.
I think you have to give it to. You know what? I was all in on the Drew Brees train. I think you have to give it to Mahomes. I really do.
Because he's doing it without Hunt now, and
now he's the big right, and it's going to be on him.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how that keeps playing out.
And that game, I think I more accurately predicted the other day. I said it was going to be a dogfight. Mm-hmm. I said the Ravens were going to be really tough on them. Their defense was going to show up. I don't remember what my score was in that game.
26-18.
And what was the final score?
I would have to look up.
I don't know. It was a 27-24 or something like that. But that one played out exactly as I thought it would. And you know what? The Ravens are tough. They're a tough team. That's a tough team. But I felt like that was, okay. That was a tough task. But you know what? The Chiefs showed me some guts in that game. Like that's what you wanted to kind of see, I think, out of the Rams last night. You know, it was like that kind of a gutsy win. You know, and they just couldn't muster it, but the Chiefs did. And maybe that's the difference between those two teams. We may find out. Maybe we'll find out in February.
The game that I picked was the Eagles versus Cowboys. I had obviously picked the Eagles to win 24-21. And this is how you can tell it is your year. It's your year to beat me and to just destroy me because, once again, how do they end up losing ultimately? On a tip ball that gets tipped up and Amari Cooper grabs it and scores a touchdown to win the game.
Yeah, what Amari Cooper, man. I mean, say what you want about him, but and say what you want about the Cowboys over the last few years, but Amari Cooper has been a godsend for that team.
I would like to see who he's actually had to play against because I know that he's had some really huge games. He's had a lot of yards with them, but he's had like 200-plus yard games, and I want to see.
Yeah, he's definitely
I might have to look at that. I might have to look and see if actually how good he's playing because Dak threw for a ton of yards yesterday, but he played.
Or like 455 or something.
He played terrible. He was terrible. He had multiple turnovers. Not just like 2. He had like 4 turnovers yesterday. It was bad. He made a lot of bad throws. He should have thrown for probably like 550 because he just kept on missing people. He is not a good quarterback. I know Keith was watching and he's a diehard Cowboy fan, but I am very, very happy that they are looking to lock him up long term. I don't think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be just mediocre, and I think that's where it's going to land.
It's funny though. I mean, I don't disagree with you, but I will tell you, he's going to end up being at this point in his young career, he's going to end up being a 2-time division winner. Just crazy, but he's going to have won that division twice in his young career because they're going to win it this year.
Yeah.
But I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you.
His defense is great. He's got a great running back.
I think he's a middling quarterback. I think he's a middle of the road kind of guy.
He's
average.
He's a mediocre quarterback.
I would put him in the Tannehill category, to be honest. I think he's in that category.
I think that's probably fair. I mean, he's a little bit more mobile, but he's probably less accurate.
He shouldn't be more mobile, but he is. Yeah. Tannehill should be more mobile.
Well, he's got a big, huge brace on his leg. He's walking around with a peg leg.
It's different. It is different.
All right, let's get on to Monday Night Football real quick. Monday Night Football we got going on tonight. That is the Vikings at the Seahawks. Mm-hmm. Who do you got?
Okay. Here's where my Dolphin love and I'm gonna maybe pick this one with my heart a little bit more than my head.
Okay.
Because what I'm thinking is, as a Dolphins fan, I do not want the Vikings to lose tonight and then in a desperation game next week against Miami show up and just blow the Dolphins out of the water. So against my better judgment, I'm actually going to pick the Vikings on the road to win this game in a real, maybe ugly, sloppy affair. Couple of big plays mixed in. Again, so I'm picking with my heart. Plus, I can pick with my heart now since I have such a massive lead on you that I probably don't have to worry about blowing it.
Just wait what I have in tune for next week. You just wait.
I mean, are there even enough weeks left for you to possibly catch up?
You just wait. You just wait what I have in store.
I mean, we'd have to start picking every game of the week for you to catch up to me at this point.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that.
I see.
I'm going to pick every single game next week.
Oh, I see. You don't want to lose 2 bets in 1 year, right? You know what, though? But I'm going to look, I still think the Vikings are a little better than they've been. I want to pick the Seahawks. I really do. But again, I'm going to pick with my heart, my gut on this one.
Okay.
Because the Seahawks probably should win this game. But I'll go with the Vikings just because then my hope is that they'll be a little bit more relaxed next week when the Dolphins come to town and maybe they'll blow one. But I'm gonna go with the Vikings here. Close game, very, very, very close game. 26-24.
26-24.
Yeah.
All right, on the road. Yeah, and unfortunately...
Well, hey, like you said, it's been my year, though, so who knows?
Yeah, unfortunately for me, I also have the Vikings tonight because I see them...
Sorry.
Yeah, I see them... I just see, like...
Well, they're desperate tonight, too.
They're desperate, and Kirk Cousins, he doesn't typically play well, but he occasionally plays well on a big night game, like on a Thursday, when it's a primetime game. He doesn't usually, but sometimes he plays big. Like I think last year, not this year, but the year before on Thanksgiving, he played huge. And this year, he hasn't played big yet in a big spot. So I'm thinking that this will be the time because he's going to be going against a defense that's pretty good, but they're not the same defense. They do have that 12th man. Carroll has been doing a great job, and
this is I think this is one of Carroll's better coaching years.
And Russ is doing a great job as well. They're having a great season, but I look at the Vikings defense. The Viking defense is pretty good, and on top of that, their offensive weapons are just so good. I can't understand how this team isn't winning more regularly. I still believe that the Vikings have a better team than the Seahawks. They have a better offensive line. They have a better defense. They have better offensive weapons. But what the Seahawks have is they have the better quarterback.
That they do.
And that's why I think this is going to be close. I have a similar score. I have 30-27.
Okay.
But I don't know. I just think I think that the Vikings are going to have to pull this one out if they want to make sure that they get their playoff hope, keep their playoff hopes alive, because things are not trending well for them, and they should. There are easily 2 or 3 other games that they should not have lost this year.
How shocked!
The one that he said, which was Clint posted, the Bills beat the Vikings. Jeez, and that's the thing, is that they should have absolutely trounced the Bills.
Yeah, they should. I don't know about trounce, but they should have. I mean, that's a tough game, but you got to win that game. Yeah, you got to win that game. I agree.
All right.
I mean, at some point, I just expect the Vikings to become the Vikings we thought they would be. But how crazy and shocking would it be if both the Vikings and the Eagles did not make the playoffs this year? One of them is almost certainly not doing it, and that's the Eagles. And the Vikings are precariously on the cusp of not making the playoffs. So wow.
Let me see what we got here. I don't know if Clint was saying this can't be true.
What's that?
I thought he just said that Russell Wilson isn't playing tonight, but I don't see anything about that. But no, I don't know.
I haven't heard that.
I haven't heard that. So that
would change the pick drastically.
He said no Russell Wilson, and I don't know what that means. All right, so maybe he's no Russell Wilson. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe
he was probably talking about Dak or something. When we were talking about Dak, I think he was saying he's no Russell Wilson.
Yeah, that's probably
obviously.
That's probably obviously. No, he is no Russell Wilson for sure. Russell Wilson is in top 5 in the league for sure. All right, so now let's move on to baseball, because we have some stuff that we wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
There's some big glaring things here. I'm gonna get a little upset. I know I'm laughing because that's just my mechanism. That's what I have.
Humor is your self-defense.
Yes, it is. And Harold Baines and Lee Smith get into the Hall of Fame, but George Steinbrenner does not. First off, if Harold Baines and Lee Smith are in the Hall of Fame, then Fred McGriff, Jack Morris, Dale Murphy, Dave Parker, Carlos Delgado, they all need to be in. They all need to be let in because, I thought this was the Hall of Fame, which meant the greatest of the great, not the stat compilers. Yeah. And I like Lee Smith. I thought he was awesome.
I like Lee Smith and I like Harold Baines.
But he's a fringe guy. He is more of a fringe guy than Harold Baines because you could at least say that Lee Smith was the best closer in the game a few times throughout his career. Yeah. Harold Baines never won an MVP, never reached 3,000 hits, never hit. He didn't even have 400 home runs, never won a batting title, never won a home run title, never knocked in the most RBIs in a season, never got on base the most. Hell, he only knocked in 100 RBIs 3 times in his career. Yep. This selection is absurd. Absolutely
it's
absurd.
The definition of a compiler. Yeah.
The dude only had 1 Silver Slugger award in his whole career.
Yeah.
What? Yeah. And Steinbrenner gets snubbed? It's absolutely ridiculous.
Now,
absolutely ridiculous.
You covered it perfectly on Baines and Lee Smith. I completely agree with everything you said, so I'm not gonna offer any more on that. On Steinbrenner, it's tough. I get it. I get it. And the fact that he only got we know he got less than 5 votes. That bothers me because that just to me is an indication that it's just never going to happen for George. It's just not going to happen. He's not even going to get close. What's upsetting about it, and now look, I understand why because the writers, and it's tough for me because from a consistency perspective, you know how I feel about steroid guys and cheaters, and I don't think they belong in the Hall of Fame. And George is one of those guys who was suspended twice. Mm-hmm. The Dave Winfield thing was a bad optic then. It's a bad optic now. I get it. But what George Steinbrenner did for baseball, revolutionized. Forget the fact that, he was a 7-time champion. His impact, he changed the business of baseball. He changed the way that baseball does business. Without him, we're all going to be tuned into the winter meetings this week.
He also kept baseball very relevant because of his,
without a doubt,
his hot head, his, firing managers. He did whatever he could to
firing managers, rehiring managers, firing them again. Him and Billy Martin making commercials together. Yeah. Less filling tastes great. George, look, and it's Homer for us, right? Because George is an icon.
I would like to know what everybody else. Because we have some Red Sox fans in here. I think Clint's a Red Sox fan. David's a Red Sox fan. I would like to hear what they have to think about, Steinbrenner possibly being put in.
Look, and I get it, and I have to, from a consistency perspective. Look, because I will be consistent in my viewpoints. I do not believe steroid users belong in the Hall of Fame. If you were on that list, you are out. That's just where I draw the line. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I don't apologize for that. That's how I feel. Because once you let one of them in, then you need to kick that door down. Now, George committed some pretty heinous crap. There's just no doubt about it. He was suspended twice. There's no doubt that that's why he's not in. There's no doubt. That's it. The Dave Winfield thing was bad. Bad. There's just no other way to say it, and that's why he's not in, and that's probably why he'll never get in. Mm-hmm. But man, oh man, did he revolutionize the game. So my point was about the winter meetings, because we're all going to be tuned into the winter meetings this week. I'm going to be glued to the TV. But I'll tell you that without George Steinbrenner, the winter meetings wouldn't even be covered by MLB Network. Because now we look at the winter meetings as this big free agent frenzy. Mm-hmm. George Steinbrenner not being owner of the Yankees, that probably never happens. He made Reggie Jackson is the guy. George and Reggie Jackson, those are the guys that got this started. And it's become such a big part of baseball. You know how many championship teams have been built because of free agency? What did Damian say? It's impossible that it wasn't a minor in the sport that he completely altered the game of baseball. If the Hall of Fame is a museum dedicated to the history of the game, then he should be enshrined. That's... And
Clint, also a Red Sox fan, says he agrees.
And I want to agree with him. I do agree with him. It's just, again, from the perspective of, being consistent and true to myself, I guess I understand where they're coming from. I don't like it, but I guess I understand. Now, as far as Harold Baines go, here's what worries me about Harold Baines. In one sense, now that he's in, Edgar Martinez is a shoo-in, and I believe
has to be. He has to be voted in by the.
And I believe Edgar Martinez is a Hall of Famer, so I'm fine with that. I'm totally fine with that. What I'm worried about is, does that kick the door down for a guy like David Ortiz? Because there's a domino effect here. Because if Edgar gets in, then they might let Ortiz in because of his wonderful smile. But if you kick the door down with David Ortiz, then the landslide starts with guys either accused or definitely having taken steroids, and then I've got a problem. So the Harold Baines one bothers me more than anything else. Lee Smith, I'm okay with because, to your point, he was, for a period of time, the most dominant and best closer in the game. Harold Baines was never the best at anything. No. He's not even the best DH ever. No. Edgar Martinez, in my opinion, is.
He was never the best. I don't think he was ever the best DH in a year. He was good. He was a good player.
Yes. Yeah, he was a good player. Yeah. I liked him. He was a good player. Hall of Famer? No.
Like how Fred McGriff isn't on. I mean, like obviously
This goes
he's
back
not,
to my
but he's going to get voted in. And Fred McGriff is a fringe guy in my opinion.
I've always believed Fred McGriff was a Hall of Famer because if you look at his numbers, they are astounding. And I understand that he falls into the compiler category a bit because he played first base for a long time. He was never the best, but his compiler stats are like really. I mean, 1,500 RBIs, 7 home runs shy of 500. To me, that's a Hall of Fame guy. Harold Baines, I can't go there. I can't go there with him. Sorry.
Yeah, the problem with the biggest problem with him is that he never got 400 or 500 home runs. He never got 20. I think he finished with like 2,400 hits. So it's not like maybe close to 2,500. I'm pulling it up right now. Never won an MVP. He finished top 10 several times, but he won a few silver sluggers. That's the crazy thing is that he's got 1, 2, 3 silver sluggers in his career. That's not great as being a first baseman, especially because he led the league in home runs twice. Yeah, that's not. I don't know.
By the way, I don't like what Damian just said, but I completely agree with Spike Owens. We'll get in now. That's funny. That is funny. That's funny. But I agree with what Damian just said, which is Ortiz will get in as well. It'll take a while, maybe all 10 years of his eligibility, but he'll get in without an actual failed test that lists what he popped positive for. He'll get in. His heroics and his story are just too good. Time heals all wounds, so the Mitchell report won't be enough to keep him out. I hate to say it, I agree with that. But then if you do that, you have to let Bonds in. I don't know about McGuire and Sosa, but Bonds has to get in. Clemens has to get in. You don't win. I'm objectively agreeing with what you're saying.
Yeah.
Whether or not we agree on his belonging in the Hall, that's completely different. Mm-hmm. But do I agree with what you're saying? What the end result will be? Yeah, I kind of have to. I mean, he's going to get in.
Yeah.
There's no. I mean, but I do think it's going to take a while because I think the baseball writers, as they will, are going to want to send a message because that's kind of their thing is sending a message. But then, if you let him in, if you let Ortiz in, again, you got to let all the other guys in. You have to let Steinbrenner in. Pete Rose needs to get in. Pete Rose should be in anyway. But all these guys have to get in. Then I'm sorry. Then you got to take the lock off of the door, and just throw it away because at that point, all of these guys need to get in.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. You let one in, they all have to get in. The floodgates will.
The one thing about Major League Baseball is they've always done a really good job of keeping the greats in the Hall, and that's like the thing with the NBA and the NFL. They just kind of let everybody in. Not really, but I mean they do. It's a lot more loose. It's not. I mean, they'd like to say that it's the greats of the greats, but they do let people in that were just kind of good. Not always great. And then they shun people like Terrell Owens and stuff like that. And Randy Moss. They don't let him in on the first ballot, and it's a little weird. But it's I don't know. It's strange. But the baseball, they do so many things backwards. Like this, they're going to let a guy like Harold Baines in because he was a good guy and whatever. But then. But then they shun things like
it's not the Hall of Good guys.
Something that we are going to be talking about on Wednesday is the shift and how baseball's thinking about getting rid of it. I can't wait to talk about that because I have some thoughts about that. But they do a lot of things weird. Like they don't like all the baseball fans that are out there. The game of baseball is mainly played for TV. Yes, there are a lot of fans, and it's the sport that's watched by the most live fans, like in the actual stadium per year. Yeah. But it really makes its money off of TV. And baseball needs to become a more TV-friendly game, like football. Football is a great TV sport, and that's why it's the most dominant sport in all of sports right now, because on TV they do such a good job, and they are doing a great job of helping the game move forward and be fan friendly, like letting the catches, making catches, when they fall and hit the ground pops it out or something like that. They are allowing more free to make more offense, to make it more fun for the fan. In baseball, they're doing things, like, people, a lot of these baseball I want to, they're just these fans that are just like too good. Like they have to do everything with the unwritten rules, and they can't throw a bat and cheer when they hit a home run to win the game. They can't even do it when they hit a home run in the third inning. They can't. It's not allowed. That's just ridiculous. You should hit him in the head. Like there's just all these ridiculous things that happen in baseball where you need to make it more fun, to seem more fun. If you want to attract young fans, you're going to have to make it look more fun. And then there's this side of it where you're letting in a guy into the Hall of Fame, which is just like, this is like, why? Why is he even getting nominated? Like, he wasn't even close. Like, it's not even like he was a fringe guy. He was like,
it's strange.
He's
it's
like not even
strange.
he's like can't even see the line of the fringe.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. Like they're doing so many things backwards, and I don't get it. It frustrates me so much. It really does, because I want this game to keep growing, and I want it to be exciting for young people. But, as someone who coaches, Little League, I noticed, a lot of players, they get there and they just they're not excited about the game. They get bored, and, you try and make it as fun as possible, but they're not getting excited, because like you talk to them about the players, like, what team do you root for? Well, I root for this team. Oh, did you see that home run the other day? No. Because you know what? They don't play it over and over again because there's no big celebrations and stuff like that. And football, after every touchdown, they do some kind of hot potato or like, the limbo or all this kind of stuff. And it's really exciting, and it gets kids talking about it at school. My son doesn't even watch football. He doesn't watch football. He doesn't really watch many sports. He'll watch a Yankee game with me from time to time. He'll watch football for a few seconds here and there. But he came home and was talking about how they were doing Fortnite dances and stuff like that one day. He's like, I heard the football, players doing some Fortnite dances. They're like, can I watch it? Like, that's what you need. That's what you need to help grow the game. And I don't know. I kind of went off on a tangent a little bit, but it's just, there's so much about baseball that's like frustrating right now.
Yeah. But let's talk a little bit of winter meetings too, because that's what we have going on this week.
We have about 5 minutes, so yeah.
This is the most wonderful
going
time
on
of
right
the year.
now, but
so there was a little bit of a troubling story for me this morning as it relates to the Yankees. And again, you take all this stuff that you hear with a grain of salt, tweets and all that stuff. I hate to say, as you know, I'm not a huge fan of the source of the term of fake news, but I unfortunately believe that fake news is a thing. And I think the MLB offseason, I think any offseason where, free agency is around the corner, trades are involved, I just think you see a lot of that stuff, especially in the Twitterverse. So I saw something this morning that said, this does sort of make sense. It does jive, considering the Yankees, what they did in terms of being competitive for Corbin and being competitive for Eovaldi. I think what I saw this morning was that the Yankees like J-Hap, but they don't want to go more than 2 years on him. So, fine. Look, I don't have a problem with the Yankees putting a specific value on certain players. I get that. The Yankees are conducting themselves with a little bit more restraint these days, which I'm cool with, because I actually agree with Hal Steinbrenner in that you do not need to have a $200 million payroll to win a World Series. And I think that's the way it should be. But what concerns me a little bit, though, is the Yankees' inability to maybe read the market. Because, look, if you didn't want Corbin, and obviously they did not want Corbin, because as it turns out, they didn't actually even offer him a contract. They just gave him a range, like, we're interested in this. We're interested in the 4 to 5 year range at maybe $20 million per year. But they never actually formally offered him a contract. So to me, that just says, we like you, but we didn't like you that much. we did it because, it was the right look to appease Yankee fans, to ensure that, we were doing our due diligence and just to make it look good. We're going to put you in, we're going to welcome you and your wife on the screen at Yankee Stadium and roll out their, proverbial red carpet and all that. With Eovaldi, they were interested in 3 years, but not 4. And now they're saying 2 years and not 3 for Hap. Now, what concerns me is, unless there is a grander scheme here at these winter meetings to trade for a guy like a Kluber, and although I don't want him, a Bauer, or a Mad Bum, unless there is a bigger plan there and that is more their focal point, I am starting to sweat a little bit with these winter meetings. I know it's just started yesterday, so I don't want to get too crazy. But I'm going to sweat a little bit if the Yankees are going to, for lack of a better term, be cheap here. Because, unfortunately, you do have to read the market. Look, the market dictates. And how do you know what the market dictates? The market is dictated by what a team is willing to spend for a player. So, you knew the market was going to be at least 5 years for Corbin, if not 6, because that's what he got. Same for Eovaldi. Look, Happ is 36 years old, but you better believe the market for him is 3 years, and there could be a team dumb enough to go 4 years on him. Just because of the style of pitcher that he is, they think, well, you know what? Even in his age 40 year, he actually might be an effective pitcher that can win 12 to 15 games. All right, I get that. Bottom line is, and I'm not saying I want Happ back necessarily. My bigger concern here, just pull the lens back a little bit, is are the Yankees not properly reading the market on guys? If you want to touch 10 years on a Machado or a Harper, fine, I get that. I don't want either of those guys anyway. I want Marwin Gonzalez. If they walk out of these winter meetings with Marwin Gonzalez, I'm going to be a happy camper. Mm-hmm. But I'm very concerned that the Yankees, and again, these are reports, so I don't want to get too worked up, but I'm just a little bit worried that maybe they are misreading the market, or they're just being stubborn to the point where it's going to come and bite them in the rear, and they're going to walk away from these winter meetings with nothing more than still James Paxton in hand and maybe a Danny Echeverria. I'm not that worried about it. I don't think. I'm not worried yet. The winter meetings just started. I'm not freaking out, but I hope I'm reading the tea leaves wrong. Is what I'm saying. It is a little nerve wracking because there have been some serious moves made, and they have major some serious money thrown around. They have a lot of money. They have said on multiple occasions they are willing to throw out a ton of money. What, you mean the Phillies spending stupid? No, the Yankees? The Yankees said that they were going to spend money. They freed up all this money so they could spend it. So far they're not. They haven't. But they haven't yet, and that's the nerve-wracking part. Is where are they going to be dropping this money? Like I said, I've been saying all along, I'm not in the Manny Machado camp anymore. I kind of went off of that, not due to what happened in the postseason, but more just because it's not a great fit. It's not the perfect fit. I think he's a better fit in Philly, and I think that actually Harper makes more sense on the team that we have. But we don't even need Harper per se. It's not a necessary need. But out of those two guys, out of those two big free agents, Harper would actually be a better fit in our lineup. And then there's a lot of other guys that are out there, and players that I don't understand why they're not kicking the tires on. Like the DJ LeMahieu's of the world and things like that. I don't understand why we're not hearing more stuff like that. Why are we not hearing more stuff about another starting pitcher? How these trades are not getting made and done. And I understand it's early in the winter meetings, but a lot of stuff has already been done. We made that Paxton trade weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And they haven't really done much since. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes and how everything works out. But that's pretty much it for our show today. Let's see what we got here. Damien. And they have... Oh, wait. I think I went too soon here. Okay. Coming off a 100-win season, having recently traded for James Paxton, I don't think Hal is feeling any pressure to make something happen. Well, we're going to keep looking on the outside in. It doesn't matter if you win 100 games if the Red Sox keep winning 108. It doesn't matter. And then, because then you could just be out in the first round of the playoffs. And the one thing we've said before, and I've said it before, is as a Yankee fan, I don't think about the Red Sox. That's never my primary concern. My primary concern as a Yankee fan is what is the path to 28 World Championships? Yeah. And if you look at the way the Yankees roster is currently constituted, there's not a path there. Right. I like 3/5 of their rotation. I don't like the other two. So far, the only money the Yankees have spent this year is on 2 glorified cheerleaders. Don't get me wrong. I love CeCe. I love Brett Gardner. They're the last remaining pieces from the Yankees' last championship run. But if you are expecting those guys to be a significant part of this team, other than being some rah-rah guys with some pom-poms in the dugout, then you have another thing coming. It's going to be a very long year for you. So 3/5 of their rotation is good. I still think they need a bat, and we know they need 2 relievers. Again, it's technically day 2 of the winter meetings. Now is not the time for fear. That comes later. But be weary here, Yankee fans, because I have said to our friend Joe Paceno, if the Yankees walk out of these winter meetings with the team that they have right now, then I will completely be on the fire Brian Cashman train with him. And what makes me a little more scared is that I think it was either yesterday or early this morning, Brian Cashman was asked, are you confident that you're going to walk out of these winter meetings having done something? And he said, confident? No. So.
It's not great. It's not what you want.
So
as Joe Girardi used to say.
We went into this show with me having gone from 6 to 12 and 12 back to 6 again.
On that. Okay. Yeah, we got a little.
Seth MacFarlane whistling.
Yeah. He's a great whistler.
Oh, let it snow, let it snow.
All right. Well, once again, thank you guys for watching, listening, however you took this in. We really appreciate it, whether it's on iTunes, iHeartRadio, anywhere podcasts are played, or if you watch this on YouTube, you can check out our channel. Just type in Sports and Sorts in the search bar, and you will come across our page. Hit subscribe, and then you'll get notified every time that we go live. I appreciate everybody that commented on the show today, whether it was Clint, Damian, Keith. We had several guys commenting on the regular, and it was really it's helpful. It helps us kind of know what really wants to be talked about. So, or if we happen to hit something that's cool, you guys let us know. Really appreciate it. He said, "Tell me of your home world." Tell me of your homeworld, Usul? I don't know. I don't know what that is. I'm not sure what that is. I don't know if it's a Dune reference. I don't know. Never saw Dune. So I'm kind of in the... Yes, no, I'm not alone. It must be Dune. It must be Dune. Because I've never seen it, unfortunately. And I have seen a lot of movies, but I have not seen those. But, once again, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And you can always go to our website at www.sportsandsorts.libsyn.com. And you can comment on the show there, too, if you'd like. And it also has all of our links to everything, whether it's Twitter, at Shane and Bri Man, Facebook.com/Shane and the Bri Man. All of those places you can click. You can go to that website, and it'll take you to any of them, even our YouTube channel. So thank you again for listening. Wednesday, we are definitely going to be talking about the shift in baseball, and if MLB should get rid of it. And we're going to be talking about that. We have some other things to talk about, too. Oh, greatest Christmas songs of all time, the Mount Rushmore Christmas songs. So we're going to be talking about that on Wednesday as well. So we hope that you guys can tune in, and we'll be back again soon. Thanks for watching.
Stay classy, Planet Club.
Bye. Royals close to deal. Billy Hamilton.
Oh, bye.
Who cares?
I'm very aroused.